What's up, guys? My name is Kai, and I'm the Nerd of Strength. From California to Canada, New York to England, Dubai to Finland, we've all been affected by this global pandemic. And while of course sports has taken the back seat to all of this, we are a strong community. Please join me on this podcast world tour as I talk to strongman fans, amateurs, and pros from all around the globe. Quarantine training, reminiscing about old competitions, and much more will be discussed. Once again, this podcast is for anybody and anyone. So please, if you would like to be on the podcast, reach out to me via the YouTube comment section or through my DMs on Instagram, and you can follow me at EastWolfStyle. Thank you all for listening and enjoy the show. First stop on our world tour is Ontario, Canada, as we talk to Carl the Power Eater. Carl is an amateur strongman who's actually training under Maxime Boudreau. Yeah, welcome to the Nerd of Strength podcast. I'm not sure which episode this is going to be, but we have a lot of guests coming up for the show because of the worldwide pandemic, unfortunately. And while we're quarantined, I asked everybody if they wanted to be on the show and put their experiences out there. And so far, I have my first guest, and today that is.
I'm Carl. I'm an amateur openweight strongman in the CASA Federation.
And the CASA Federation is the
Canadian, I forget what it stands for, but it's our side of the Strongman Corp for Canada.
Okay, cool. And you said you were located in Ontario, correct?
Yes, that's true.
All right, awesome. So how did you get your start into strongman?
Well, I saw World's Strongest Man on TV when I was 5. My dad introduced me to guys like Zydrunas, Terry Hollins, Mike Jenkins, Brian Shaw. So then slowly I started training bodybuilding. Realized I didn't like the dieting aspect of it. Realized I liked getting stronger, putting on more weight. The more weight I put on, the stronger I got. So I put 2 and 2 together, like, oh, I put on more muscle, I get stronger. So then eventually on Reddit, I found a powerlifting gym. And then I noticed that they had strongman equipment. So casually, I started training the odd event here or there until last year, where a couple of guys were like, yeah, you're pretty strong. Why don't you actually do a strongman show? So I did my first novice show last year in Toronto. Came 5th out of 12, I think. And just fell in love with the sport.
Okay, wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I like how everybody, says they got into the sport by watching it on TV back in the day and that, they want to try it out or they came from a different sport like bodybuilding or powerlifting. I think that's really cool.
It's neat because, there's always a jumping off point. There are certain things I didn't like with the bodybuilding aspect. I didn't like having a tan, having a diet, having to, pose in basically swimming trunks. I just thought that was kind of weird. And I found bodybuilding was so objective, but I realized strongman, there's no objectivity. Either you lift the thing or you don't. And then you realize you can be functionally strong too.
Yeah. Did you ever do any powerlifting meets or bodybuilding meets at all, or you just tried it out?
2 years ago in Ontario in the Canadian Powerlifting Federation. I liked it, but I also noticed it was very cliquey. It was like every gym stuck to themselves. It was very solo sport. But when I did strongman last year in the Kings of Strength Federation, I noticed everyone was for everybody. Everyone was supportive, no matter if the guy was a professional or amateur. Like, they cheered you on just as much as they cheered on their fellow guys. And it was all just like a lot of support. And if you didn't know how to do something, they'd always give you tips. They'd always give you advice. And everyone was rooting for each other. So it was kind of like a lot of camaraderie that you didn't get in powerlifting.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I never done powerlifting. I thought those guys were kind of like strongmen. I'm not saying, of course, there aren't nice people in it, but I kind of thought it was more akin to strongman. So that's actually kind of interesting to hear.
Well, in strongman, since we have so few people in it, I think everyone kind of feels the need to support each other a lot more because it's such a niche sport.
Yeah, that is true. Well, since you said you were in Canada, do you is it like how do I say this? Is it broadcast better in Canada? Like does it help people come to the sport or like easily view it?
With like Rogue live streaming the Arnolds this year and previous years, I think it has become more visible. And we have our own Canadian heroes that we look up to, like my coach Maxime Boudreau. He plays really well at the Santa Monica qualifiers. He almost came first and qualified for the Arnolds. So there's your people you look up to that you see through the live streams. If we didn't have the live streams, probably not. But it has become a lot more accessible through the years.
That's cool. So, yeah, I want to talk more about that. So, you train with Maxime Boudreau. How long you been training with him?
A couple months now, and we were planning on taking me to provincials at least this year, and hopefully get my pro card in the next couple years.
That's awesome. I hope you get that. So, do you train at his gym or does he do the remote training with you?
We're doing remote training, but it's day-to-day feedback, so I can tell him how I'm feeling. He sees all my lifts, so we're always changing up the plan as we need to, so which I kind of like. I would like to go up to Thunder Bay and train with him, but it's an 18-hour drive.
Wow, that's I actually thought he was closer. I thought he was in Ontario too, but I don't know Canada geography.
No, I'm closer to Buffalo. He's like
Oh,
further up. I'm about like an hour and a half from Buffalo.
okay. Yeah, that's actually closer to me, funny enough. So yeah, are you guys like quarantine over there, or are you still like working or what have you?
Like gym was unofficially opened until a couple days ago, but now that our prime minister has declared that everything has to be shut down, so everything's shut down. Like I'm just staying at home. I'm essential. I work at a grocery store, so I have to still go to work, but I'm staying home.
Uh, I understand. Yeah, I worked at a gym and we got closed down last Monday. And like they just kind of like pulled the rug from under us. Like
Yeah,
it was unfortunate. A couple of, stores now are getting like warnings and heads up. Like I saw it on the news like maybe 2 hours before my shift. It was like we have to shut down by 8 o'clock. And I had like a closing shift. I'm like, no one knew. Like we still had people coming in at like 7:30. We were trying to close up in like 30 minutes. Like, the state shut us down, unfortunately. So
right.
it's
You can't
been
do
really
anything.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people
it's
are trying to hoard everything they can. I still don't understand the toilet paper thing,
me neither.
and everyone's judging me because being a super heavyweight, you gotta buy a ton of meat, ton of rice, ton of potatoes, and they're like, "You're hoarding this." I'm like, "No, this is just my weekly diet.
Right? Yeah, my mom's one of
It's
those
only enough food
extreme
for 4 days."
couponers. My mom's an extreme couponer, and people give her bad looks. I'm like, no, she does this on a regular basis. Just buy stuff in bulk.
Well, that's every day. Well, when you buy a 20-pound bag of rice, people think you're doomsday prep, and that's like, no, I go through that every 2 weeks. Like, that's not a lot, right?
Exactly. I don't know. If people could just chill out a bit, I think we'd all be okay. But human nature. People just won't stay inside.
I think if people just knew the severity of it and knew, like, hey, if you stay home for 2 to 4 weeks, then this could all be over quicker. We could all go back to training our regular ways. But now, since people are being stubborn, we got to suffer. People just were patient, did what they're supposed to. We could get through this a lot quicker.
Yeah. Are you doing any training at all, or just taking it easy?
I have a couple sandbags in the house. I'll do a light training, but I'm taking this as a basic deload. My spine just could probably use a break from all the squatting and deadlifting. So I think this will be good for me. I haven't taken a break off in like 3 years, so I think
Wow.
it'll be good for my health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think everybody could just if you don't have a home gym, just take it easy. I've been
Yeah,
doing that. I've actually started doing a lot of like yoga. I'm just like,
yeah.
it'll be good to like, do that, do some stretching.
That's basically what I'm doing. Everyone's trying to do all these Instagram workouts. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, this would be a good time to just stretch out, work on my mobility, take it easy. Think of it as like a little mini vacation where I don't have to commit to anything. I don't have to worry about the next heavy training session, worry about my next deload. Like, it's super stressful trying to prepare for a show, especially when the end result's going to be whether or not I qualify for provincials or nationals or go for my pro card. You don't have to stress about that. Right now, I don't even think I have a season, so I'm just taking it easy. Just going to
Hmm.
relax, just
Did
relax.
Yeah. Did you have a contest coming up or
I had one in July.
besides the provisionals?
I had one in July to qualify for provincials, which would have been in
Hmm.
August, but it hasn't been canceled yet, as we don't know what's going on yet. So it's still standing. But if I can't get back to the gym till May or at the latest June, well, it might be tough to go into such a heavy contest with maybe 4 weeks of preparation.
Hmm.
So if that's what happens, I might just take the year off, just build some strength, and go back at it next year, depending on when this is all over. If I can get back in the gym in the next 2 to 3 weeks, then I'll keep prepping, see what happens. It's hard to
That's
say.
a that's a good way to look at it, honestly. Not, go too crazy of, whoa, if I go back, 2 weeks before, I'm gonna go balls to the wall and
Yeah,
maybe pick up an injury or something.
right. That's more what I'm worried about. I just want to stay healthy. Like, you get pretty banged up training heavy almost year round. I take basically a month off every year to just do like bodybuilding stuff, but this will be actually pretty good to ease into. Hopefully, if it's just 2 weeks, I can do a light training week and then get back to where I was. But if that's not the case, then I don't see a point in trying to rush everything and try to build as much strength as I can in 4 weeks. Like, it's just not going to work, and the end result's just going to be terrible. You got to play it smart.
Yeah. Oh man, if that's happening for like, amateurs, I can't imagine what the pros are honestly going through right now. Has to be crazy, especially not knowing if Worlds is going to happen in May, which I highly doubt.
I heard rumors it'll be in August or September now
Eh.
because Giants Live, Europe's Strongest Band, is supposed to be in August. So they usually do Worlds after that, I imagine. So at the earliest, we're looking at September. But a lot of those guys, they still have home gyms, so they don't know what's going on. They're still training a lot. A bunch of them are training heavy. A bunch of them are like Martins, who are doing light stuff, calisthenics, stretching, working on their mobility. But then some of them are like, okay, let's go. So everything is up in the air. Can I feel
Yeah.
this for them because that's their livelihood? For me, this is still a hobby at this point. It's not a career.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm just so like not sure about what's gonna happen. Like I plan to go to Worlds, but because of everything that's happening, I'm just like, cancel my plane ticket. Luckily, I didn't have a hotel for that. Coming back in September would be
Right.
good. It's the end of summer. If they do it before Labor Day, it probably would unfortunately still be like crazy hot though. So who knows?
I don't like that they all punish these guys and make them go to such huge places like the Philippines or Florida when it's like sweltering hot and it's like 105 out. Like, I don't get it. Like, these guys are 350, 400, 440 pounds. Like, they're gonna sweat to death, and you're torturing them by putting them inside. I don't get it. You should put them in a stadium like they do Giants Live in air conditioning where they can perform better.
Right? That would be so cool. But I think it's something to do with like the company who puts on the show gets money from like tourism, so they want it to look all nice and pretty.
Right, but at the cost of athletic performance, I think it's a little ridiculous.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like just being a spectator last year, I was like dying in the heat. And like you said, these guys are 350, 400. I'm like, this
Right.
is crazy. I don't
Well,
know.
last year I did a show in July and it was about like 90, 95 degrees, and we're doing a 13-ton truck pull, and all of us are just dying by the end of it.
Oh man.
And like the spectators are like sweating to death. Imagine how us are strapped into a truck pull. Like it's not fun, but you know you still do it, and you can't exactly
Yeah,
pull it inside.
true. The things we do for the sport, I guess.
Right. It's such a spectator heavy sport too, but I just wish they would think of the athletes a little bit more. So we'll see what happens this year because apparently last year it wasn't really well run to the point where even Zadrunas was complaining to them, and Magnusberg Magnuson was complaining to the organizers that the athletes are just not happy.
Like we are at a point where it's just like this sport is getting more popular. These guys need to be treated much better than what they are. They do it for the love of the sport, but you gotta respect your athletes. So I hope it gets better for them. I hope no
Sure.
injuries or what have you happens to anybody like last year.
And then you saw the Arnolds this year. How many guys every year get injured by the first day? Someone has to
Yeah.
change it. Yeah, like these events are just getting way too heavy.
Yeah, that's true. So how do you feel about, them maybe lightening in it a bit? Kind of go back to the mid 2000s when it was more athletic base.
I think it'd be good. I think they should model it more after Fortissimus, where they're doing more higher rep events and more like classical events like the Louis Cyr dumbbell. And we don't need to see a max deadlift every single year in every single contest. Like, how many hamstrings need to be blown off before someone finally deadlifts the 501?
But at this point, I just kind of want Thor to break it so we can stop talking about it.
Exactly. Like, it just needs to stop. Like, every contest the pros do, it's always a max deadlift, max deadlift. Will someone beat Eddie's 501? It's not exciting, and a lot of us as fans are tired of it. This isn't powerlifting. We didn't get into this to do a on rep max deadlift. We want to see well built, all around athletes. We don't need to see just people good at deadlifting once. The whole point is be good at many different events, right?
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned Fortissimus. Like, I hope it still gets to come back this year because they talk about September for that show, but for everything being up in the air, who knows? But that's one of my favorite shows.
Me too, and I like that it's spread out over 3 days, not two.
I was actually just like going back and rewatching them last night and
Yeah.
watching like Poundstone and Savickas going back and forth was like one of the most like epic things like ever.
And then watching Misha Koklayev.
Yeah.
That's one of the strongest guys to never win a World's Strongest Man title, and just seeing those three guys duke it out, it was fun. Guys like Travis Ortmeyer, not a lot of guys that get a lot of love, but they're so fun to watch.
Oh yeah, Ortmeyer and like Coakley have like were so entertaining back in the day. Ortmeyer's trying to make a comeback in SCL, so I hope he does well because he got injured last year and like it
Yeah.
took him like a year to get back.
But then his stone now, I saw him do a stone that was like 450, 480. So I think his strength's coming way back. I
I want
like,
to see him and Trey Mitchell like duke it out on the stones.
oh yeah. So even with Wesley Claiborne, if I could see those three guys go for it on the stone, it'd be kind of fun to watch. I want to see
Yeah.
more of a max stone event rather than a max deadlift event. I want to see if a 700-pound stone would be attainable by any human being.
Oh man, that would be insane. But I definitely think like Tom Stoltman could definitely do something like that. He's got the wingspan for it.
Right. But it's been an event that's never been pushed, right? No one's ever really tried to lay claim to, well, I got the heaviest stone lift ever. Yeah, Brian Shaw took the record at Rogue Record Breakers, but no one's ever really challenged him for it. And he's been pretty much the only one to actually even do the event. Why not throw Max Stone into more contests, see who can actually put up these big numbers?
Yeah, that's true. Just marathoning all the old like worlds events, I was getting a bit sick of Atlas Stones, being the end for the qualifiers and the end for the finals. I like what you said, doing like just the max stones, like that would be more interesting.
Well, for Canada Strongest Man, they did a max stone, and it was exciting because it wasn't even onto a platform. It was onto this little bowl that was like such a small circumference that you're like, oh my god, if this guy misses the stone lift, it's done. He's not gonna have a second shot at it. So it's a lot more entertaining.
Yeah, I think I saw the clip of that on IG over the summer. I was like, those things were like super slim. I'm like,
Good.
oh, I hope nobody drops it on their foot.
And one of our big Canadians, he came third, Carl Hedgeholt. He got a 498 stone onto that little platform. So it just makes me think if we could duke it out on max stone. I wonder how many people could push a 600-pound stone up. Because not a lot of people have been pushed to do such a heavy stone, right? Most contests they cap out at a 430 stone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Brian mentioned something like the reason why they kind of took it out of the Arnolds was because it was like expensive to make the stones,
Right,
which I kind of get, but it's like, the point of strongman is to push the strength of human beings.
right.
So,
I
you
mean,
know,
they built the Wheel of Pain, so I'm pretty sure they can afford to make a stone out of concrete.
exactly.
I wonder how much that Wheel of Pain cost them compared to a 600 or 650-pound stone. Like 650 stone probably cost pennies compared to the Wheel of Pain. The assembly requiring, like, you have to bring in how many people, all that setup. Like, I think a stone would be a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Tom blew it out of the water, so hopefully they kind of bring it back. Like I like them rotating like Rogues events every couple of years.
Right.
Like honestly, I'm kind of just want them to give the Elephant Bar a break for maybe a year and do a different event.
I like
Like
to
bring
see
back the
the
Hummer
tire
tire.
come back.
Yeah, I want to see the Hummer tire or maybe like a silver dollar deadlift.
I haven't seen a silver dollar deadlift since the 80s.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, bring back some of the older events. I think would like
Yeah.
change it up a bit.
Well, I'd like to see some of the old, like, I'm pretty sure Mark Felix still has the Hummer tire deadlift world record, but no one's really challenged him on it. So it'd be fun to see that. And I don't think most people know what, like, the experience of lifting a elephant bar is like. So I don't think they really know what the whip is like, or they don't know how to compare it to a normal, like, deadlift bar. So it'd be fun to see, just like most strongman competitors train on an axle. Why not just do an axle deadlift? So most people can be like, oh, okay, like I know what that feels like. An elephant bar is such a specialty bar that no one really trains with it. So you don't really know, like, if 500 kilos is the same on an elephant bar compared to a normal deadlift bar.
Yeah, and people still have the argument over, oh, the elephant bar is easier, oh, it's harder. So,
But no one knows because there's only like two or three built, and people are just making like their own weird modifications on their own normal bars. So it's not a mass produced bar. I like to see either a squat, or I'd like to see more axle pressing because we haven't seen too many like Apollyon bar pressing in a while in WSM or the Arnold's.
yeah, that would be cool. I think the last time I did it was Giants Live North America last year, but and
Right.
like maybe Eddie a couple of years ago when he broke the record, but yeah, that'd be a cool one to do as well. But just like the max deadlift, everybody's trying to beat Zadrunas' like 228. So,
Which I think if any record's gonna fall this year, it was gonna be the log. And I think either Adam Bishop or Iron BB would have probably gotten it. Maybe even Larry Wheels. Who knows?
I don't know with Larry Wheels, like he does all the crazy social media stuff. I'm like, sometimes he gets injured like crazy, and he jumps from like each sport like every 6 months. I'm like, dude, stick with strongman for a year and just do strongman, or stick with powerlifting.
If you
But
committed at least a year or two to the sport and just only did strongman contests, didn't worry about trying to be IG famous, I think he could break some pretty gnarly records in the sport. But since, like you said, he's so into one thing, into another thing. I don't think he has like. It's not to say he's not disciplined, but I think if he needs to commit to one thing and see what he can achieve. Like, yeah, he's broken like 3 all-time world records in powerlifting. Okay, you've done that. You haven't beat any strongman records. Why not just devote the time to that? See what he can do. Like, your overhead pressing is impressive. Like, anyone that can overhead press strictly like 4 plates and 405, like, you should be able to beat like the 228 log at some point. You can press
Yeah,
over 400 pounds. What's 500 at that point, right?
exactly. I want to see him do like the Arnold series. That's what I want to see him do. Like either
I think
going
a
through
lot of
like the amateurs or going through the pro. Well, I don't know. Is he considered a pro? He didn't win the Fit Expo.
no, he's just a guest star, so that's why they've only had him on for just the log event. But he's unranked. He wouldn't even be ranked as a novice because he hasn't done a single strongman show. So I
Yeah.
like to see him actually compete, earn his pro card, so we don't just go, oh, he's IG famous, so he's allowed to do whatever he wants. Like, all of us have put in our time, put in the work, and tried to qualify. Why does he just get to go and appear at these big pro events just because he's famous? Like, I don't think it's fair to the other athletes.
Because I was always wondering about that. But it's just like any other industry. It's about who you know, not what you know. And I'm just like, if the Giants live guys like him, I guess he's just gonna keep getting, invites to those shows. But you're right, he should go through nationals, through the ranks, just like everybody else.
Well, and to get to nationals is a challenge in itself. Like, I don't know how it works for every other federation, but here you have to win a regional, win a provincial, win a national. Then you have to go and win the Arnold Amateur. If you don't come top two in the Arnold Amateur, you have to start all over. And if you place bad at one contest, your whole season's pretty much done, and you're not going to earn your pro card.
I
So,
think it's a bit more forgiving here, honestly. Depending, because we have USS United States Strongman, and we have Strongman Corp.
yeah.
I'm not part of Strongman Corp. I'm part of like USS, and it's like if you place top three at like a novice comp, you can go to nationals. You know?
Right. That's why a lot of us in this area try to do American shows at Strongman Corp or USS. Because if you do place like top three, you usually go pretty far, and you can go to nationals pretty easily. So it's fun to do it that way. But if you want to be recognized as like a Canadian pro, you kind of have to do it the right way.
Yeah.
But your pro card would still be recognized under like our federation. But
Hmm.
I like to see it. You do it the proper way. I'm in. Go through the grueling events, go through regionals, go through provincials, challenge yourself against people in this country.
Have you ever like come down to the states and done a couple of shows?
I was supposed to do the Iron and Stone strongman event he had planned for June or August.
Was that the one in upstate New York?
Yeah,
I was gonna go to that one too, but now I don't know.
it's one of those things where too, like, I don't know what travel's gonna be like. I don't know like what the border situation's gonna be like. I don't know how restricted that's gonna be for travel.
That was the main concern about the travel.
Well, who knows if they're gonna let us travel by plane or even by bus or even just like if I take my car down. Like, who knows if they're gonna put stringent policies into place just to keep all the protocols about this isolation thing going until they know for sure it's done.
Yeah, we still have some shows that say they're going to go on in April, but I'm like, the way New York and New Jersey's set up right now, where we have like the most outbreaks in the United States, I'm like, that's not gonna happen. And if you guys think it's gonna happen, you're crazy.
You guys are on full lockdown, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, it's just hard in New York City. We're a city of 8 million people. You tell people to stay inside, they'll be like, no, and still be outside.
Yeah.
So,
But even if you guys are self quarantined, like just taking the subway, like I'm sure there's plenty of you taking the subway in Manhattan. Like, you're not really doing everything they can to minimize it. If you're gonna
yeah.
lock down everything, like the essential people are still going to travel by subway and by bus. Like you're still going to have those opportunities to contract it. Like unless these people are taking their own vehicles to get to work, like you're still putting them at risk by sending them to work.
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate situation, and it is true that they've tried to restrict their services and whatnot. I'm like, the more subways you take out of service, those trains are going to get packed again because there's less trains. So it's a stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Right.
But
And
I'm staying home.
that's the best thing to do. Like I think people just need to realize, like, yeah, it sucks, and yeah, we have our hobby, and yeah, we were planning on competing and stuff, but plans change, and sometimes this is for the better. Like, you kind of can't be selfish at this time.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you said before we started you were playing Doom. I was playing Animal Crossing. I'm like, this is a good time just to like read a book, watch Netflix, play video games.
And like, I don't really have the time. Like, I go straight from work. I get up to work at 3 a.m. I'm at work at 4. I work till 12:30. I go straight to the gym. I'm done at the gym by 4:30. Go home, eat, go straight to bed, and that's my life. But now it's like, oh, sweet, I actually have free time to play video games. I have time to read the books I've been putting off. I have time to just hang out and do nothing. It's kind of actually nice.
Yeah.
Because when
Yeah,
you're
that's why I'm like, enjoy it while you can for the people who aren't going crazy.
right, and then if you are a serious competitor, like your time is very like planned out. Like you don't have some of the same luxuries that normal people have. Like your social life takes a hit if you're trying to actually plan out to be competitive and commit to it. So you're not really playing video games. You're training and eating at the size that I am. Like if you want to be 300 pounds, you're gonna have to eat. So your day revolves around eating. Now it's great. I don't have to eat as much. I can just
Yeah.
sit around and cut back from like 6 meals to 3. Like it's kind of nice. I don't have to stress about eating or missing a meal.
Yeah, 6 meals a day. Wow. Well, like you said, it's good to take a break from that. And you're right. Like it was weird. Yesterday, Martine was like streaming on Twitch. I'm like, I never thought I'd see like a professional strongman just be like, I'm playing video games.
Well, even Thor was joining them too. But I mean, if your gyms are locked down, why not? And I'm sure some of these pros have their own gyms, but like Thor, I'm pretty sure is still training. But why not just take a break? And do guys like that take a break? Probably never.
Well, even Thor said that. He was like, I've been competing for 10 years straight. I
Yeah,
need a break. So I think this break will do the pros good because Martine's looked beat up at the Arnolds. Belshack was definitely beat up.
but like these guys just beat themselves up so much, and Martine's like biggest quote is, "I'm tired." Well, now's a good chance to recover. I'm sure a lot of these guys are taking so many things that their bodies are probably like, yeah, it's time to take a break from all the PEDs. Probably time to cut some weight too, because being 400 plus pounds is probably not good for them. So
Yeah.
it'd be,
Hopefully everybody's fresh for Worlds. So,
but it'd be interesting to see if they still have worlds this year, like if the Olympics being canceled and whatnot.
I mean,
But
it's happened before with Worlds. What was it, 1987? They didn't have one. So, eh.
and then plus with everybody coming in from so many different countries, I wonder how strict travel would be for a lot of those guys like Belshak and Thor coming from Iceland and a bunch of all the other guys that coming in from Europe. Like, is travel going to be strict?
Yeah. Only time will tell, unfortunately. So, we'll see what
Well,
happens.
we're all stuck in a waiting game right now.
I don't know. Same with Wus Dubai. I mean, Wus Bahrain. I was excited for that one, and then they were the first ones to announce we've postponed our event. So
And that would have been fun too, because biggest payout ever for a show. I'm sure some of the guys are hurting right now because if they would have won that, that would have put them quite ahead for their income for the year.
oh yeah, yeah. I've seen a lot of guys like, hey, I'll do like cameo shout outs or things like that to help subsidize the money. And I get it. Like you said, these are their jobs.
Like before this all happened, like I know, like even just my coach, he had clients doing some training, right? But now that every gym's shut down, I'm not working with him currently at this exact second. So like that's probably hurting his income too, just like all these other pros that have clients that they train. So what else do they do? Cameo is pretty much the only avenue of income, or Twitch.
Yeah, Amazon affiliate links.
And like, yeah, I'm sure they're still sponsored by other companies, but it's like, what kind of videos can you really post on Instagram? Like everything's gonna be like from a month or two ago. Like you're not posting this new content. And I'm sure a lot of these guys that have YouTube channels, they're not gonna be able to really come up with too many ideas to post.
We'll see what happens, content wise with some of these guys. Thankfully, Martins has like a great personality to do Twitch and things like
Right.
that.
And even just the other video he posted of him just grilling steaks on his little Traeger grill, like that's kind of fun and interesting that you don't really see. It'd be kind of fun to see them do other videos that aren't training related, maybe just more of a day in the life, not in the gym. What's a day off for them look like? What do they do outside of the gym?
Yeah. I
So
kind of want to see Martins just do like a painting video.
I'd love to see that. I'd even love to buy a painting if he like offer that kind of option. I'm sure if he could ship that, I could he could probably make some decent income off that. Take
Right?
commission.
Because during his like Rogue 2 series, he's like, "Oh, I've been painting this." I'm like, "That's beautiful." I'm like, "Man, I'd buy that."
You don't really anticipate that from a huge strongman like him, right? You go, oh, this big meathead. Like you don't think they have such creative, artistic abilities like he does. It's not really synonymous with painting, right?
Yeah. Everybody has to have their hobbies,
Right.
you know. What do you do outside of, the gym?
I put write music actually.
Okay. Play
So
guitar or
I play guitar and play bass a little bit. So that's my little artistic thing I do just to kind of unwind from the gym. 'Cause you get lost in it. You pick up your instrument, like you're not really thinking of anything. Like the music just kind of flows. So it's a nice way to. Like, I almost consider it like meditation because it's like you free your mind at that point, right? Like your fingers are just doing all the work, and you're not really thinking of too much.
oh yeah, it's always good to, just have that stress relief and, not just think about stuff and like you said, just turn off your brain.
Right. And like I never used to play video games before, but now I found that's like a fun little way to unwind.
I've been, relieved that I'm kind of home from work just so I can play games that I just haven't been able to pick up for like months.
Yeah. And same with like books. I have like a pile of books that have just been sitting around that I've half started and then just got too busy to pick up.
So yeah, that's the situation that we're in now. And like I said, I hope everything does get better. I hope you get to, compete later in the year. If not, fingers crossed.
If anything, there's always next year, and I could always come back even better next year. More healthy, more rested up, a lot more stronger.
Have you gone back and watched like older worlds since, now we got all this free time?
Oh yeah, I've been watching the old Fortissimus videos. I've been watching Kazmaier. It's just something about Kazmaier just motivates me so much compared to these newer guys. It's just that raw power that he had. Like, and of course, you got to watch John Paul Sigmarsson. I am the Viking.
Yeah. Who's your favorite?
And back then, I'm Polish, so I have to root for Mariusz Pudzianowski, five-time world's strongest man. Yeah, and I know it's a little dicey if he's the best strongman of all time, because some people argue, like, yeah, he got his fifth title controversially, because a lot of people were in IFSA, so he wasn't competing against Zydrunas and Brian Shaw. But still, I consider him one of the best. And of course, you gotta respect Kazmaier. He kind of brought the sport to the mainstream.
Oh no, I definitely think like Marius is up there. Would I say he's the GOAT? No, but I I think he does deserve some respect for what he did do. Like from an athletic standpoint, absolutely.
If you had to pick the greatest of all time, who would you pick?
I'm still gonna go with Z.
I would,
Like
I
he
would
has
too.
titles people don't have, will never have. Even though Thor is looking unstoppable right now, I'm like, does he have another 20 years in this sport to get to the level that Z, got to?
And Z was great in every single federation he was in, whether it was World's Strongest or World's Strongest in IFSA or Fortissimus, he was just so well rounded. There wasn't really, I couldn't even name you a weakness that Zadrunas had.
I mean, a little bit of speed. He would always kind of be a bit slow in the first event, but
You'd
he was
always,
still kind of fast.
you'd always podium though. Like he never really came lower than second or third.
Yeah,
Not a lot of guys can claim that they're that consistent, you know.
that is very true. Yeah, like I said, if Thor has the longevity, can I see him getting 8 Arnolds? Not necessarily, because there's a lot of strong guys nipping at his heels. The Junas was just, like you said, consistent for so long and on top for so long. It might be kind of impossible to catch up with him. No, what I was saying is like I said, Thor is unstoppable right now, but there's a lot of strong guys nipping at his heels, which would make it very hard for him, I think, to get to the level that Z got to.
Right. When you have guys like Matosh Kilikovsky coming right after you, and he won by 1.5 points, I think,
Yeah,
with Arnold. So it's like, yeah, he's not far behind, and if Matosh can get his deadlift up like even 50 more pounds and pull closer to 960, 980, like he'll start winning worlds. He'll start winning Arnold's. Like that's his only weakness is his deadlift.
it kills me that I was watching the Arnolds. I'm like 4 out of 6 event wins, and because of the deadlift, you
Well, it's
know.
like my coach Maxime, like he won 3 of the 5 events at the Santa Monica qualifier, and then Martins just beat him out. It's not about
Yeah,
winning every single event; it's staying consistent and getting top 3 at each event. That's what racks up the points. But if you're bad at one event, you're just screwed.
yeah. A couple weeks ago, I was watching like Canada's Strongest Man, and yeah, I saw it happen to Maxime. Like he had a good lead, did like I think he like won like the press events, a couple of events, and then the deadlift came and he slipped
Yeah,
back and he got knocked off podium. So
yeah,
you're right about staying consistent, at least top three. Like you only get 1 point on the deadlift, you're screwed.
right. And if you lose, it's like 6 points just because you come mid pack on deadlift, like that can cost you a win easily. It doesn't matter if you win like 5 of the 6 events. If you lose 6, some one, like you have to stay like far ahead enough of out of everybody, right?
Or you can be like Mark Felix and somehow still sneak on the podium, which I
Except
think is hilarious. But that
Martinez,
happened at Giants Live North America, and I'm like, that's crazy. He zeroed, the overhead, the axle, and then got third place.
and like I like that about him and Martinez. Martinez will come like second to last for the first 3 events, and then somehow sneak out a top 1 or top 2 finish, and you're just like, where the hell did Martinez come from? Like, does he get his energy after like the third event or something? Right after like 2 or 3 events?
Maybe he definitely thrives off the crowd. So I'm like, the crowd hyping him up and stuff is like, I think that's what he thrives off of. But you're right.
Well, yeah, you gotta stay calm and stay the course, and yeah, you might have a bad event, but even just like during the Arnold's, if you watch like the behind the scenes, like Mateusz was like feeling really down about the deadlift, but even Thor just came up to him and gave him some like moral support, and he's like, "Yeah, man, just, like stay the course, like get your head in the game. Like, yeah, you placed bad at one event, but just keep going." And then look what happened. Like, he's only like a point or two away from getting his first Arnold's.
If Worlds happens, I think he can get it. That dude needs a win. Like I get so sad when he's second place. Like the look on his face, I'm like, damn.
but he's just so consistently second place, and I think he's so tired of it. He knows he has it in him, and it's just like one tiny event just slips him up and like costs him the victory that he should have.
I guess he's the Thor of the 2020s, like consistently on the podium until like you just, you snap or you have a breaking point and it's like you break that barrier and you win.
Right,
Because
but he's
Thor
like,
made all those crazy mistakes, like 2014 where he didn't wear a squat suit and he lost the title.
right, and like I think Matosh is at that point too, where he's still so young, he still doesn't know all the nuances of competing yet. That like he doesn't know every single trick yet, and if he can just boost his confidence a little bit, I think he could win a lot of titles. I think he could win like 5 WSMs easily. I think
Yeah,
it's a factor in that. Like he's still young. He doesn't have that training age yet that a lot of these other guys have.
yeah. What is he, 26? Yeah, 26. So yeah, that's still relatively young.
And Thor didn't win his first WSM until he was 28. So and now he's like,
Yeah. And Martini said he wants to be done by like what, 33, 35. So
yeah, he's got
you're
plenty.
definitely right. But Tejas definitely could get like multiple wins.
If he stays healthy, and you saw how quick he recovered after that bicep tear. If he's like strict dumbbell pressing like 312 or 320 pounds after a bicep tear, that's pretty damn good.
He has it in him, but we'll see who's like, coming up in the next couple of years. Like you guys got some strong guys in Canada. There's some strong guys in like the UK coming up, so that next wave is coming in.
I kind of like it. Like Canada has like turned into this little hotbed of athletes now. We never used to really have like well-known names, right? But now JF used to be like the only Canadian most people could name. Now it's Jimmy Paquette, Carl Hedgehall, Maxime Boudreau. Like we're getting up there and really good competitive athletes.
For a long time, it was just like what Hugo Gerard back in the day.
Hugo Gerard, right?
And that was like the only ones I knew were like Hugo and JF. So I was like, it is cool to see like you guys from the north, like
Like
bringing
on,
it in. I like watching it and like seeing different countries, show up. It's not just the U.S. and like the
right,
UK and Iceland.
right, and like there's like now I think like 3 countries that are like producing so many athletes, and it makes me kind of curious, like what's so special about Canada, what's so special about the UK, or what's so special about the United States that's producing all these like good athletes? Like what's different from my training compared to like people in the States, or how am I training different from the guys in the UK?
Yeah.
Makes me curious. Like, is their diet different, or training patterns just different than like everyone else's? But like, it just makes me wonder.
Yeah, I always find it interesting. I'm like the UK, that they love this sport, so they put their all into it, and they want to parade their British champions and all of that. So I think they have the backing. The US, I think we're just so big, and even though the sport's not that big, the people who are in it, they go balls to the wall in it too. And like the Canadians, y'all have Canadian grip, clearly, because it's so cold.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the heck that's supposed to mean. You kept announcing that yeah, Canadians have the best grip. I'm like, okay, like yeah, we have grip challenges, and we have that arm lifting thing that Hagen does, and national grip championships, but that every other country does too. Like, there's nothing special about Canadians and their grip.
I don't know. That dude was weird, but it was entertaining.
Like, I don't know if he just means that like Maxime has like a 430 or 450 pound farmer's walk, or I don't know what else that could mean. Like, yeah, JF's got a 1,020 pound deadlift or something like that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think our grip is anything special. We don't train grip any different than a guy like Brian Shaw would.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the whole time, I'm just like, why does he keep bringing that up? I don't know. I guess if he was nervous, just repeating it over and over.
Like Do you think we're all lumberjacks and we all just like chopped wood or something?
Clearly.
I think they should have gotten better commentators. Like, get people in the actual sport. Like, when you have Leifa Angles and you have Anthony Furman, like in the volunteer section and helping out, why not just grab one of those people? Like you have two pro strong men and strong women like right there. Like, grab one of those people to do commentary. Like Anthony Furman's got a way better personality than that guy with his Canadian grip.
That would have been awesome to have like those two as commentators. And they know how to pronounce these people's names right.
Because they compete alongside them. Like Anthony Furman's going head like toe to toe with like half these people to qualify for the Arnolds, right? And he's been in the sport for how many years, and he's pretty famous now, being on
Titan
the
games.
Titan games, yeah, with The Rock. Like, plus Leafa Angles too. Like, she's got a personality, and she's a pro strong woman, so she's been through like the ranks too and seen all these people compete. Like, they know the sport, they know the events. Like, don't get a person that no one's really familiar with doing the commentary.
Well, I get it from like a rogue standpoint because they sell CrossFit stuff, but I'm just like, but don't get CrossFit people to commentate on the strongman stuff or do like an hour thread of like just talking about CrossFit. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
not what we're here for.
I'm still kind of ticked at Matt Frazier for making that comment about how, oh yeah, pro strongmen don't have any endurance. I'm like, okay, you do your burpees for a minute, but you're saying a strongman that's pulling a 50-ton plane has no endurance.
Right?
Where does that make sense? Like, I'm pretty sure a pro strongman's got more in like aerobic capacity pulling a 50-ton or whatever that weighs airplane with just a harness. Like, I'm pretty sure that's going to be more taxing than you doing a, I don't know, like a 315 deadlift for reps. Like,
Yeah.
it's not the same. It's comparing like celery to an apple. It's two different things.
Yeah, I'm like, I have no doubt that Matt Frazier is, what do they call him, the fittest man on earth? But I'm just like, the stuff that he was saying on the stream was like completely asinine. I'm like, they do logs for rep, like they do moving events. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well,
Moving
they
with like 250-pound kegs, is that not endurance?
right. Even just like a local unsanctioned contest like that I was supposed to do in Hamilton, just outside of my city. We're still like the sandbag was supposed to be 250 and then work up to 350 pounds. And like, I don't have endurance running with a 350-pound sandbag. That's so asinine. Well,
I
you
don't
can
know.
burpees, woohoo.
Yeah, I'm like, hopefully Rogue learns. I was like, hey, get better commentators. That's all we ask for. Everything else I enjoy about their streams. It's just their commentators make me want to rip my hair out.
Right, but even just when they did the Rogue Record Breakers for the Sunday event, like they had a powerlifter on. I'm like, yeah, that's closer, but like if you're doing a record breakers for strongman, why not have a strongman on there to actually explain the history of the event and actually be accurate with the information?
Exactly. I would have, like you said, I would have loved to have like Lifa commentate during like the women's record breakers, like explain what's happening from a female standpoint.
Right, and she's competed alongside like Andrea Thompson and Donna Moore.
Exactly. And she has some records.
Right,
So,
and like I don't think the pro strongwomen got as much love from Rogue as they could have.
yeah, I was it's hard because I definitely want to see more, pro strong women. It's just like I was expecting them to get the same kind of highlight reels on Rogue's YouTube page,
Right.
but we didn't see that. And I'm like, Andrea Thompson just broke the deadlift record, and there's no highlight reel. There's
No,
there's nothing.
same with Haley Randall. Haley Randall is a Canadian pro strongwoman hero. Like, she's got a 600-pound deadlift for reps, and there was no mention of that. Like, she's axle deadlifted 600 for three, but none of the commentators mentioned that.
Yeah.
And she did
I
that
don't
in the contest.
I don't just blame Rogue. It's just like same with like, any other like facet, like official strongman. Yeah, they do some stuff on their website with like the pro strong women, but I'm like, why don't you guys live stream like Europe's Strongest Women or something like that?
Yeah,
That's something we also want to see.
right. And I think strong man and strong woman is more advanced than a lot of other strength sports, and I think like pro strong woman is getting a lot more love, but I think it still needs a lot more attention. And like, yeah, I understand like big super heavyweights in the men category is gonna be a little bit more exciting seeing like a 500 kilo deadlift, but like it's still exciting to see like Andrea Thompson battle it out with Donna Moore. Like I want to see more love for the ladies. Like there are some tough, strong, badass women there.
Yeah,
Like I will support anybody in the sport, but I am like super excited watching like Andrea Thompson break that deadlift record, and I'm like, oh shit, like she broke my record, and I'm like, that's badass. Like I'm not.
exactly.
I'm like, if you can deadlift more than me, like okay, that means I got to work twice as hard now.
Exactly. And like everybody likes to complain about like, the whip on the elephant bar. I'm like, shut up. A woman did it. So there you go. Like how was like you said, how is that not badass?
Oh, but like you don't see like um women complain about it, and like they're doing like still like 600. I don't know what the event capped out at. I think Andrew Thompson got 615 or 630.
621 or 625.
Like, that's badass, and that's still a bigger deadlift than most people have. Even like women, like how many amateur men can deadlift 621? Like not a lot, right?
Right.
I think that needs to be like given a lot more attention to.
It's also about like, prize money as well. Like I
I
don't
like
think she got nearly as much money as she should have for that record.
no, but I do know with Rogue though they all the prizes are donated by sponsors and stuff. So I wish more companies would back women.
I didn't know that. I thought all the money was just from Rogue. Huh. That's true.
Well, it sounds like the Arnold Sport Festival, even just for the bodybuilding, they usually call out the sponsor as they give up the check.
Hmm. Yeah. You're right. It's definitely more about the advertising and, companies putting out there. Hopefully, as we advance, it gets better and there's, the more fans we get to the sport, the more people who want to advertise and sponsor it.
Right. But I'd like to see, like, if they highlighted more pro strong women, you'd see more amateur women in the sport. And if you can draw more attention to pro strong women, like, the sport can grow more, right? And there'd be more avenues for amateur women to get their pro card and more contests just for, like, pro strong women.
Yeah, that's what I want to see.
No, and when I did the Toronto Pro Show last year, even as a novice, I'd see like the women compete, and there's a lot of women, but there were a lot of women in a lot of different weight classes. There wasn't like a big weight class that had like 5+ competitors. It would be 2 or 3 per weight class. Like I'd like to see like more competitiveness for the ladies. If
Hmm.
more women were into it, you'd see more of a big battle against people in a weight class. You're only going head to head against one other person. It's not exactly as exciting.
I don't know. I think we women still have more weight classes than the men, but yeah, like you said, it's a bit, sporadic.
And then on this Canadian side to go pro, like even for a man, like I can either be over 105 kilos or under. Like that's pretty much like the 2 weight classes we have.
Hmm.
And being 230 and being 285, like that's a huge difference, right? Like there's no happy medium in between the two. Like I'd like to see even just like another weight class in between 230 and open.
Yeah.
Even just like a 260 or a 275 would be kind of nice.
Yeah, that would be because like cutting down to like, the 105s is I've seen some crazy weight cuts for on some of the guys.
Or even just watching people water cut. I'm just like not about it. I'm like I would not want to cut that much weight.
Yeah. I
And
think
then
Anthony Furman did that.
yeah, he's now moved up to heavyweight, but
Yeah.
still he's like the smallest guy in heavyweight now.
Well, I mean, Novikov's pretty small.
Right, but when Anthony Furman competes at 230, like he's probably only kicking around at 260, 270. I mean,
Yeah.
he's doing pretty well for himself, but if he wants to get up there and start winning shows, like he's not placing well at these open weight shows. He's coming like dead last or eighth or ninth, but like he's strong, but he's not going to be as strong as some of these guys pushing 400 pounds.
That is true. But like I said, they're focusing a bit more on athleticism, so maybe the guys will start slimming down. Like I think Mateus is a good, decent weight. What is he, like 330?
Yeah,
And he's coming second place to Thor, who's 440.
like I think the old mentality of mass moves mass doesn't really apply anymore, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, it looks more attainable. It's like, yeah, we can have the freaks, but it's good to have some of the guys who look a bit more normal.
Well, even just watching Rob Kearney compete, like Rob Kearney is my weight and my height, and it's like okay, like I could go pro at my size and my height and not have to worry about being 440 pounds. Like you don't really see like a 280-pound 5'10" guy compete like in like against the pros.
But hopefully, it changes. I think it would, make it look a bit more diverse. Now everybody's like you said, 400 pounds, got a shaved mohawk, and all look the same. It's like, hey, we got some shorter guys who are kicking ass, and like some bigger guys who aren't as good.
But it'd be nice to see diversity because like everyone just kind of looks identical to each other. Really, like big guy, beard, shaved head. Okay, that's like
Exactly. Like if you look away for a second, I'm like, am I looking at Eddie Hall or am I looking at Brian Shaw? I was like, y'all look the same sometimes.
Oh, if you look at the tape from the back, yeah, they look like identical. And it's like, okay. I like that Rob Kearney has like a big personality and he expresses that through his haircut.
Yeah.
It makes it really entertaining watching him wear those fun, entertaining leggings of his.
Same with Novikov. Like he wears like the leggings and stuff too, and he's smaller. Same with Belshek. They're both kind of like 6 feet, 6'1", which is kind of smallish.
Red. And like, yeah, it has its disadvantages. Like, I know, like, even just for stones, like, yeah, I'm not going to be as good at stones as a guy like Thor, who's 6'6" or 6'7". I'm not going to have that wingspan that he does.
It's cool to see guys like, push their limits or push past the limitations of their bodies.
Right. And, like, I think Kearney on Joe Rogan's podcast mentioned that he doesn't even feel like the need to gain weight. He's happy just staying the size he is. Whereas a lot of the other guys are like, oh I need to eat 10,000 calories. I need to eat 12,000 calories.
Speaking of like, saying I'm getting hungry, I'm actually going to have to, call the podcast, honestly.
So I'm getting hungry myself now.
Exactly. Well, once again, I do want to thank you for being on the podcast and, talking about what you've been doing during the quarantine and talking a bit about World's Strongest Man with me.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to come on.
Thank you so much. And once again, your social media links will be in the description below, but if you want to say it, you are free to say it now.
Yep, my Instagram is at Carl the Power Eater.
Okay, cool. And once again, if things are settled in the world by June or July, and you do have enough time to train, I wish you the best of luck in your competitions.
Thank you. Hopefully you get to compete as well.
Thank you so much. Once again, guys, thank you all for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you would like more information on Strongman or where to get started, please check out r/Strongman. The Strongman Reddit is a wealth of information from amateurs and pros alike. That's where I spend most of my time. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at EastWolfStyle, as well as today's guest at Carl the Power Eater. All the links will be in the description below. Also in the links in the description below will be my Amazon affiliate link if you are looking to purchase any sporting equipment while we're all in the quarantine. Please use my link, it helps out. And finally, you can listen to the podcast here on YouTube or on Anchor FM, SoundCloud, Spotify, or wherever you may listen to podcasts. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.